Well, Leander ISD is considering open enrollment to students outside of the district. Enrollment numbers are starting to slow down a bit in certain parts of the area, and so the district wants to stop that trend. KVUE's Jessica Cha joins us from Leander now. So, Jessica, why open up the district?
Well, Yvonne, Leander ISD wants two things out of this potential plan. The first thing is that they want to be able to use up the available space that they have to help educate kids while also maintaining the funding that they get from the state. Now, at their most recent school board meeting, their chief financial officer said that the district has had a $4.5 million decrease in state revenue due to low enrollment numbers. And so they say open enrollment could possibly balance those things out. Now, I spoke with Jeremy Trimble, who is the Chief Operations Officer for Leander ISD and is a member of the district's long-range planning unit subcommittee. And he says at a glance, their enrollment numbers are stable. But it's because as the northern part of their district continues to grow, the southern and central parts of the district are shrinking in students. He says it's mainly due to the rising cost of housing, and families with younger kids are unable to move to those areas. He says now their graduating senior classes leaving are much smaller than the kindergarten classes coming in. And so Trimble says the school is now considering open enrollment to offer their available space to other students.
We believe we provide an extraordinary student experience and education here in Leander ISD, and so that could be an opportunity for those outside the district to have access to. But also understanding that we get funding by enrollment. You know, the state provides just over $6,000 per student that attend schools within Leander ISD.
Trimble says they still have to consider many different things, like if they can support the number of kids that may apply, if they can provide buses to them to make sure it's not overbearing to staff and campuses, and they also want to consider the distance they'd extend their open enrollment to. Now, Trimble says they're about to present more pros and cons of the plan to at the next school board meeting in January, but he says there is no specific timeline to if and when they could implement this open enrollment plan to the district. Live in Leander, Jessica Cha, KVUE News. Back to you, Yvonne.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much. In other news, state funding to school districts in Texas is really based on enrollment. So speaking of, you just heard district leaders tell KVUE that they get about $6,000 per student from the state. And, you know, that hasn't changed since 2019. Now, Leander ISD leaders also plan to advocate at the Texas Capitol. So they plan to push for increased school funding and pay raises during the upcoming legislative session next year. Last week, the Board of Trustees adopted the district's legislative priorities, and they include curriculum, school safety, and mental health, voucher opposition, and state funding. The legislative session, by the way, gets underway on January 14th.